Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om 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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayam Udiraye.
Tato Jayam Udiraye.
Nashta Preshavadeshu.
Nashta Preshavadeshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, we offer respectful obeisances to the goddess of learning, Saraswati, to Narayana Rishi, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Supreme Human Being, and to the compiler Vyasadev, and thus Jai shall be uttered. We are continue reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, the Status Quo, Chapter 19, the killing of the demon Hiranyaksha, text number 23.
Yeah.
Tadadite samabhavat.
Tadadite samabhavat.
Tadadite samabhavat.
Tadadite samabhavat.
Sahasari dive patu.
Sahasari dive patu.
Sahasari dive patu.
Sahasari dive patu.
Smartanya partur adesham.
Smartanya partur adesham.
Smarantya partur adesham.
Smarantya partur adesham.
Stanaj chasrik prasusruve.
Stanaj chasrik prasusruve.
Stanaj chasrik prasusruve.
Stanaj chasrik prasusruve.
Tadadite samabhavat.
Tadadite samabhavat.
Sahasari dive patut.
Sahasari dive patut.
Smaranya bhati adesam.
Smarantya bhatu adesham.
Stanat kasruk prasursuve.
Stanachasri prasusruve.
Tadadite samabhavat. Tadadite samabhavat. Sahasari dive patut.
Sahasari dive
Patut.
Smarantya bhatu adesham.
Smarantya partur adesham.
Stanachasrik prasusruve.
Prasusruve.
Tadadite samabhavat.
Tadadite samabhavat.
Sahasari dive patut.
Sahasari dive
patut.
Smarantya partur adesham.
Smarantya bhatu adesham.
Stanachasri prasusruve.
Stanachasri prasusruve. Mataji.
Tadadite samabhavat.
Tadadite samabhavat.
Sahasari dive patu.
Sahasari dive patu.
Smarantya partur adesham.
Smarantya partur adesham.
Stanachasri prasusruve.
Stanachasri prasusruve. Tada. At that moment, Dite of Diti Samabhavat occurred. Sahasa suddenly. Ridi in the heart. Vepatu a shudder. Smarantya recalling. Batu of her husband. Kashyapa Adesham the words. Stanat from her breast. Cha and Asrich blood. Prasusruve flowed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. At that very moment, a shudder suddenly ran through the heart of Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha. She recalled the words of her husband Kashyapa, and blood flowed from her breasts. Purport. At Hiranyaksha's last moment, his mother, Diti, remembered what her husband had said. Although her sons would be demons, they would have the advantage of being killed by the personality of God himself. She remembered this incident by the grace of the Lord, and her breasts flowed blood instead of milk. And from her breast flowed blood instead of milk. In many instances, we find that when a mother is moved by affection of her sons, milk flows from her breasts. In the case of the demon's mother, the blood could not transform into milk, but it flowed down her breasts as it was. Blood transforms into milk. To drink milk is auspicious, but to drink blood is inauspicious. Although they are one and the same thing. This formula is applicable in the case of cow's milk also. Okay, I will continue reading this next verse also. Vinashtasu swamayasu bhuyascha vrachak kishavam rushopagu hamanomum tatrishevastitang bahi. When the demon saw his magic forces dispelled, he at once again came into the presence of the personality of God at Keshava, and, full of rage, tried to embrace him within his arms to crush him. But to his great amazement, he found the Lord standing outside the circle of his arms. Purport. In this verse, the Lord is addressed as Keshava, because he killed the demon Keshi in the beginning of creation. Keshava is also a name of Krsna. Krsna is the origin of all incarnations, and it is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita that Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, exists simultaneously in its different incarnations and expansions. The demon's attempt to measure the Supreme Personality of Godhead is significant. The demon wanted to embrace him with his arms, thinking that with his limited arms he could capture the Absolute by material power. He did not know that God is the greatest of the great and the smallest of the small. No one can capture the Supreme Lord nor bring him under his control. But the demoniac person always attempts to measure the length and breadth of the Supreme Lord. By his inconceivable potency, the Lord can become the universal form as explained in Bhagavad Gita, and at the same time he can remain within the box of his devotees as their worshipable deity. There are many devotees who keep a statue of the Lord in a small box and carry it with them everywhere. Every morning they worship the Lord in the box. The Supreme Lord, Keshava, or the personality of God at Krsna, is not bound by any measurement of our calculation. He can remain with his devotee in any suitable form, yet he is unapproachable by any amount of demoniac activities. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Nina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lankaya Tegrim Yat Kripatam Aham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Shri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swavadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The demon wants to measure the Supreme Lord, or here Hiranyaksha tries to capture Varaha. He wants to embrace him and then crush him or something. But he tries to, he embraces him, and suddenly he finds he's not inside his arms anymore. He's just gone and stands outside. And Prabhupada uses this example or this historical incident to draw a philosophical point that the demons always want to measure the Lord, bring him in their control, and or maybe even abolish the Lord and say he doesn't exist, because we measured everything and we found out there's no God. Wasn't it Yuri Gagarin who was the first man in space, and then he came down and then they asked him, and have you seen God? Where was he? You were now in the sky, in the heaven. And he said, no, I was not seeing God. So Oh, see, he doesn't exist. Communistic ideas. We were flying in the sky, and there was no God, no clouds we could find where God sits. So we measured the sky, no God. So this is the mentality of the materialistic person or demon. And why is it actually? It's interesting. Why are atheists so much fighting against God? Because God is all good. Why fight something all good? Why fight some? Because often I ask these atheists, wouldn't it be nice if there's God? Okay, you don't believe, but wouldn't it be nice if there is an absolute God and all good God? And they say, yeah, it would be good, but not existing. So I wonder why, they admit, of course it would be nice, but it doesn't exist. And so why do you have so many reasons against it? Because if there is God, then they would have to surrender. And this a demon cannot do, even if it's good for him. Isn't it? Even if it's good for him, he cannot. This is this pride. And this is this envy. And these are all these bad qualities we accumulated in being here in the material world. And it's our rebellion against God. It's our rebellion. We're all fallen angels. And the fallen angel is always cursing God. Why have you done this? Why have you kicked me out of your kingdom? Like in Milton's Paradise Lost. Milton. Actually, Prabhupada mentions, I think, what's his name? John Milton. John Milton? In his Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Prabhupada says, it's about the soul leaving the spiritual world. And Prabhupada says, as nicely described in Milton's Paradise Lost. It's an old book, it's kind of a poem, a long poem. And John Milton, he was living in the 17th century or something, it's quite old. And it's about, it's Christian mythology, you could say, Christian mythology. And it starts with after the battle in the heavens. There was a battle in heaven between the legions of God. They are led by the archangels, like I think Michael is one of them. No? Michael, he's the main archangel, the general of the angels. And he was fighting the forces of Lucifer. He was on the other side. He was the first angel, but somehow he got on the ego trip and he wanted to defeat God. And he made a war in heaven against God. And he lost. And then he fell from heaven to the darkest region in the creation, to the hell. And there it starts, John Milton's Paradise Lost, how he fell and now he's speaking. Lucifer speaks and explains, what shall we do now? And there are other demonic or fallen angels like this Beelzebub. What's called Beelzebub? And I forgot that. So, and they discuss what to do next and what shall we do and how we can live now. And they will live in the hell. And they want to have revenge. They want to have revenge. So this is all what the demon wants. He wants to defeat God. It's very interesting. Even though knowing it's not possible. He thinks somewhat might be possible. Namang Nacha dushkritimang muda prabhadyante naradama maya parita yana asuram pavam ashritaha. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse 15, there is Krishna says there are 4 kinds of dushkritis, meaning people who always act bad. Kriti means acting. Comes from karma. The word karma comes from this Sanskrit. San means perfect, complete, and krita means arranged. Something that is perfectly arranged, because such a logical language. So this word karma comes from krita, acting. So du means bad, dushkriti. So bad actor, someone who acts very bad. And there are 4 kinds of bad actors. Not bad actors like in Hollywood. Maybe most of them are also bad actors. But someone who is doing bad things, sinful things. So the first is the Muda. A Muda means a person who's not so intelligent, a worker, right? He's just thinking, my purpose is working and getting some salary and it's all fine. No time for thinking about higher things, I'm just working. Then Maya Paritagyan, the Naradama, is the lowest of mankind. And then Maya Paritagyana, these are philosophers, thinkers, scientists, those whose knowledge is stolen away, or those who are bewildered by too much knowledge. These are Maya Paritagyana. And in the end, the last is called Asura. And Asura is the outspoken atheist, the demon, who wants to defeat God, who wants to fight God. And so Lucifer in this book, he says then, because he could surrender, God is all merciful. Meaning, you make a mistake, even so bad as this, if you surrender, he will accept you again. He would. But what does Lucifer say? Better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. Better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. I will never submit. I will never surrender. Even though it's bad, even though living in the hell. And then they build a capital. And the capital's name is Pandemonium. Pandemonium. And Prabhupada uses this word a couple of times, because what does pandemonium mean? Demon is of course the atheist demon. Pan means like everything. So everything is demoniac. And this is what we are creating now in this world because of atheistic governments and leaders. We are also creating a pandemonium in this world, a hell on earth. This is what is created because of ignorance and neglect of the laws of nature, which are Krishna's laws. And what happens if we break the law? We get punished. Right? If we break the law, we get punished. So the Mother Earth, or however you want to call, fights back. It's a natural thing if we act against the laws of nature, and we get reactions. And this is happening nowadays. So this is what Prabhupada explains here, that a demon always wants to measure the Lord and thinks he can control the Lord. Demonic tendencies in our heart. And then he explains, but the devotee, because he explains that the Lord is very big as the universal form. Krishna shows a universal form in Bhagavad Gita. So the Lord is very big, unmeasurable big. Because the demon wants to measure the Lord, but the Lord is so big, you cannot measure him. And he's also very small. And Prabhupada gives the example here of the Lord being so small that the devotee carries him in a box. Imagine. Everyone has God in his box. The devotee can have God in a box. It says a statue. Very often the Shaligram Shila, devotees they carry the Shaligram Shila in a box or some container or some silver box, and they carry it around the neck. And then in the morning, Prabhupada in the morning, you take the Lord out and worship him, pray, like here, Shaligram Shila Puja. And then he goes back in the box. And Prabhupada says, this is the Lord, this is Krishna. No difference between Krishna in his deity form and himself. So Krishna is so merciful, so tolerant, then he becomes subjugated like this. Because Krishna is controlled by bhakti. He's controlled by love. It's amazing. Krishna is not controlling everything, everyone. He wants to be controlled. Actually, he wants to be controlled. He wants to be controlled by our love. But pure love. This is not that we, out of egoism, control him. It's just pure love. And he will do whatever you like. If it's pure. And this is what we learn in Krishna consciousness. We should learn this sublime art and of developing this lost love to Krishna. And it's not a small thing. It's a very difficult thing. Because this love is transformed into lust. Originally we have all prema. We selflessly love Krishna. We only want to serve Krishna. We don't think about ourselves. And this love gets transformed when we come in the material world into lust and karma. And karma means me first. I want to enjoy. I want to have this. I want to have this person. And, yeah, you want to enjoy. This is karma. And it's very interesting that the highest in the spiritual world looks like the lowest in the material world. Right? The highest in the spiritual world looks like the lowest in the material world, because what is here the lowest is lust, especially in perverted relationships between man and woman, and nowadays also man and all this, and woman, and whatever works, whatever works will be begotten. Right? So bad. And in the spiritual world, it looks like the same. Krishna is often said, "Oh, lusty young boy." And the gopis also says someone is being lusty for Krishna. But it's not lust. It's pure. It's pure love. It just looks like. And it's interesting that this seeming lust, which is spiritual, is our cure. It's the most thorough cure for us to free us from lust. When we hear about the lust of Krishna. After 5 chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, 29 to 34, which are the most esoteric part in one sense of Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says only the Sahajyas, they jump immediately to there because it's about the Rasa Lila. Yeah. So devotees should be carefully approaching these chapters in reading the first cantos of Bhagavatam, studying the 10th canto, and then under guidance of Srila Prabhupada, then read these 5 chapters. Yeah? So, and 10, 29, 34, the 5 chapters of Rasa Lila. And many things happen, it's very nice chapters. And then after this, Parikshit Maharaj, he asked the question, how is this possible? That the Lord acts so contemptibly? You know? Because this can be criticized. And that Parikshit Maharaj was asking this question for us and for the sages who were assembled with him, who were not as pure as him. Because the pure devotee understands this. And the pure devotee will not criticize the Lord. The pure devotee will say, this should be our mood. Whatever Krishna does is perfect, it's all good. The devotee will never criticize the Lord and will never misunderstand. Because Krishna can do whatever he likes. He can do whatever he likes. So, but he asked then, why was it behaving so, socially, from a social point of view, not so recommendable? Dancing with married girls at night. And then the first thing Parikshit Shukadev Goswami says is, the powerful, the controllers, cannot be criticized. It's interesting. So the first thing he says, you should not criticize. No one should criticize. And he gives the example. And Prabhupada himself always gives the example. And yesterday I recognized this. What is the example Prabhupada gives in not imitating but following? Right? Prabhupada always says, the powerful you should never imitate, you should follow. And Prabhupada gives a couple of examples, but you remember which one he gives? Of a person acting, but you cannot imitate. And if you imitate, you will be destroyed. If you do what a person does, you will be destroyed. It's the example of Lord Shiva drinking the ocean of poison. Prabhupada very often says, and it's actually directly from the Bhagavatam. This is the first answer Shukadev gives in when we become maybe doubtful in Krishna's pastimes. Yes, Krishna is not a normal person. He is the Supreme Lord. And as said here in this purport, he is the origin of all the avatars. So only if we understand Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna explains that everything comes from me, I control everything, I'm the father of all living beings. If we understand this really, not just quote some shlokas, but really have faith in it, have some realization of it, strong faith, and then you read Krishna's Leelas, you have no problem. Because you understand this is Krishna, right? But if you don't understand it really, then we might misunderstand and criticize. And then, in one sense, the Leela doesn't work. Oh, the Leela doesn't work. Because what should the Leela do with us? It should purify us from material coverings and anarthas, and especially lust. But if you don't understand the Leela, then it cannot work on us. That's the reason why Krishna came in this world, to show his Leelas. Krishna came in this world to show his name, his form, his qualities, and his pastimes. It's great mercy. It's a great mercy that we can have all this knowledge about Krishna. It's amazing. So it's the first thing he says. You cannot imitate. If you imitate, then you will die. As if you would drink an ocean of poison, you will die. Shiva can do. And then he explains also, what else? Exactly this point. Recently I was thinking about this. That if the Leela would be material, if it would be material, and this would be just some stories, amorous, romantic stories, and especially the devotee who is very much absorbed in Krishna Katha and in the sadhana and chanting Hare Krishna. We chant all day Hare Krishna, Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna. So if this would be material, we would definitely be very lusty. Definitely. When you hear always about this girl and this boy, and you read their pastime, you will be always lusty. And you will do the same. You have to do. It's always, if you think about something, you're attracted. It said, I always forget the first word. Vishaya, what is it? Dhyayata Vishnu? Not. Vishaya. Dhyayata. And we forgot. But in the Bhagavad Gita it said, if you think about something, contemplating on something, then you develop attachment. Sangos teshu pachayate, sangat sanchayate kama, kamat kroto vichayate. Then you're attached, and from this attachment comes karma, comes lust. So naturally, if we think about something, we become attached, and we want to enjoy. So especially if we think about these romantic things. Like nowadays, people always read these love books on romantic stories and some. I never read one of these, so I don't know what's in it, but I can imagine. They make movies, everything, and they always think about this. Oh, about love. They call it love. So that's what I was thinking. So if it would be material, this should happen. And especially the more advanced devotees, and as we see in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who only heard about these pastimes, they should be actually very much afflicted by love, lust, sex. So, but when we hear in the proper consciousness about pastimes of Krishna, the exact opposite happens. We become purified, we become free from lust. Isn't it? We become free from lust. So it's something described what actually acts complete opposite on us. It doesn't make us lusty, it frees us from lust. And it shows that this is not material. Even though it looks like, superficially it looks like, but it cannot be. This is the proof. You meditate on Radha Krishna, you chant Hare Krishna every day, and you become spiritual. You get prema. The lust goes away. Because as Srila Prabhupada explains, and he quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that this is the adiras, the original pleasure, and he says, what does he say? Sex psychology of Krishna, which is pervertedly reflected in the material world. And adi means original. It's the original. And this is explains. And then that the Mayavadis. Could you give me first canto? Do we have first canto here? No. We don't.
German,
Whatever, German, English.
English we don't have. German we have, but in Euro I think so, not here.
No, okay.
Ist alles oben.
Okay, egal. No, dann nicht. Okay. I just wanted to quote it but he speaks then on the Mayavadis, who have a big problem because if they don't understand, I don't remember all the details, but if they don't understand Krishna and think everything is void, everything is zero, everything is one. Oh, I forgot the exact point he made. But anyway, so in this shloka after he says, don't imitate, and he speaks especially on this, that normally we get entangled in this material world by acting materially, by thinking materially, but if we listen to Krishna's Leelas, we become free. So he gives this example that this is not material, it's completely spiritual. And my last point in this regard is that actually only through understanding Krishna Leela, and especially the pastime of Radha Krishna, is it possible to become free from the attachment to material world. Because if we don't replace the real or the unreal with the real, it's always lacking. We want to have personal exchange and all this. But as long as not completely filled up with the true personal exchange of Krishna, there's always something lacking. So there are only two options. Either you do it in a material way, or you become a Mayavadi and negate it. Right? And both is not natural. But if Krishna's Leela is completely in our consciousness, which offers everything the soul really wants, but it's pure, then this higher taste is there, and in comparison to that, the material version of it is just boring. And not just boring, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Isn't it? Who was it? Either Rukmini or Lakshmi in the Bhagavatam, where she says, I think it's Lakshmi, when they churn the milk ocean, and then Lakshmi comes out. And there are all the demons and demigods, and Vishnu is there. And she's very chaste and shy, and she searches for her husband. And everyone wants her, especially the demons, because it's goddess of fortune. But then it's something said, wow, what do I care about all this, material bodies? What do I care about all these obnoxious creatures? I only am attracted to the Lord. So in the same way, if we understand Krishna's Leela properly, in all its intricate details of its nature, that it being spiritual, Satchidananda, the forms, the bodies of them are spiritual, they're eternal, full of consciousness and bliss. Just this is amazing, that all their bodies are completely spiritual. And then this most sweet and loving exchanges. And then you compare this to this reflection of it in the material world. You will see through the illusions. This material world cannot bewilder you anymore, because you know what is real. There's a book by, who was it, Bhaktisiddhanta or Bhakti? Vaishnavism, real and apparent. That's a very interesting title. Vaishnavism, real and apparent. What is Vaishnava? Because Vaishnavism can be misunderstood. So what is real and what is only what seems it is. So this world, the whole material world, just seems to be what it is, or what it is presenting. It's just a reflection of a perverted reflection of this original reality. And the devotee can only understand this when we understand the real. The only way is Krishna consciousness, Vaishnavism. In understanding what is the real and seeing through, then understanding what is not real. Mayavad way will not work. You cannot negate this world and then understand what it is, because it's not true. That what is beyond is not a negation. It's interesting. So we have to understand what's the real thing, and then this material world will not be attracting anymore. So, and that's the reason why we have to come to this understanding of Krishna's Leelas. Because they are supremely attractive. If you just hover on a lower platform, it will not replace the intense sense pleasures of the material world. Sense pleasures are very strong. Attachment to the sense objects is very strong. The senses are very strong and very bewildering for the conditioned soul. But Krishna's Leelas and his personality and the holy name and all this, Krishna himself in all his pure aspects, are so powerful that the strong attraction to the material world and all this will loosen. It will go away. So how is this possible to do if we absorb our consciousness in Krishna? And there are many ways to do this. This is Bhakti Yoga. And in the beginning, because our consciousness, our mind is very weak, we have to do many physical things. Right? But why do we do physical things? To bring our consciousness in the activity, to be absorbed. We always say absorbed. It doesn't work if we do it but think about something else. You cook and you think about something else. You have to learn to cook for the Lord. If you worship the deities and you think about, I know I was often on the altar and sometimes I'm space out. Space out. And you worship, but you think about this and that, this and that, and somehow it's not nice. Right? But if you really understand, I'm worshipping the Lord now, offering these articles, this is Supreme Personality of Godhead, this is my seva now, you understand what it is, what you offer, you do it with love and devotion, you look at the Lord like this, and this is Bhakti Yoga. So then we absorbed. So, and the more we become purified in time through our devotional practices, the more we can absorb our minds in Krishna. Because the mind is the center of the senses, the sixth sense. So we have to be bei der Sache sein. In German you say bei der Sache sein. It's an interesting thing. How do you say this in Russian? Bei der Sache sein. Is there something like this? No, nothing like this? Bei der Sache sein.
Up to the point.
No, in Russian.
It is fresh.
Nothing like this? Means really you are with the activity. Bei der Sache sein is you are with the activity. You don't think about something else. So when you read, you understand what it means. Every word you are aware. And when you chant, of course this is the supreme challenge. You are aware of every word. Very difficult, but we practice. And we make advancement. And in our devotional practices, when you cook, you make a meditation before. Okay, I'm cooking now for the Lord. And then you do, and it helps. All this. And this is how we learn Bhakti Yoga. This is called sadhana, Bhakti Yoga. Why is sadhana Bhakti Yoga? We practice. And then the purification is very intense. Very good. Who likes anarthas? Do you like anarthas? No? Lust, anger, greed. You like? Krodha? You like Krodha? Yes, I would like to be more angry. It's quite nice. No. So we should understand, I don't like anarthas, so what shall I do? I have to be serious in my spiritual life. Do you like Maya? Yes, it's very nice to be in illusion. It's very nice to have forget Krishna, to think this material world is good and this. We should understand, I have a problem. It's good to understand how much we are in Maya. Because then we should take the consequence and surrender seriously, practice seriously. Our sadhana will become very intense. Because it depends on where you get up, when you get up. Because this is where it starts. You cannot sleep, sunrise and this and that. So anyway, but this is what I want to explain, this principle of the replacing the Maya and with Krishna. This is a very interesting point. That we have all these aspects which we are attracted, naturally attracted, replaced with Krishna. Even if you are angry, you can be angry for Krishna. It said, Shishupali was envious. Was not recommendable, but still, Because in this, I think it's in the 30th chapter of the Bhagavatam, when it's spoken, when Krishna plays the flute, and all the gopis run to Krishna. Some they couldn't get out, and they were thinking intensely on Krishna, meditating so strong, and they gave up their bodies. And it said they reached the Supreme. And Parikshit Maharaj again asked the question, how is this possible? How is this possible? They were just some village girls, because it said mukti, no? They attained liberation. I think it said mukti. And normally this is just for, you have to understand, in the Vedic society, there's Varnashram Dharma, women acting accordingly, men according Varna, ashram, this and that. And then there are some who are beyond it. These are the sages. Mostly men. Mainly men, not women. And they are like sages living in the forest and meditating and doing intense sadhana and austerities. And they said, okay, they have mukti. And suddenly, this is the context, right? And suddenly Shukadev says, yes, and these village girls, they were thinking about Krishna and they get mukti. And we said, how is this? How is this possible? Normally, mukti is for the man with the beard and sitting, meditating, and just some village girl. How is this possible? Right? He approaches from this point of view. And then Shukadev says, oh, my dear Parikshit, I told you this before. How have you forgotten? Even Shishupal, he was envious of Krishna. He got mukti. So these girls, they were very attracted to Krishna because of the attraction to Krishna. Seeming lust, he was envious, this and that. But Krishna is so merciful. If you attach to him, it doesn't matter what is the motivation. You get promoted. Ah, interesting. Huh? So like Kupcha, this was not prema. It said almost lust. She was almost really lusty for Krishna. And Krishna rewarded. Interesting. So the devotee should not imitate this. We should have the pure desire. But it's interesting that the point is, however we attach to Krishna, it's beneficial. It's good. But somehow or other we should get attached to Krishna. Like these devotees. They always think about Krishna all day long. They always think about Krishna in his personal form. With his flute, his turban, his peacock feather, lotus feet, his smiling glance, with his lotus eyes, and his activities. So, and when we do this, then it's very easy to preach. Because you're inspired. Because oh, Krishna is so nice. Why don't you have Krishna? Right? This is what preaching shall be. Yesterday I was speaking a little bit militant on fighting, this and that. Yeah, there's some mood inside. But actually, preaching is sharing, giving Vrindavan Krishna. Because you like Krishna. Isn't it? When you like someone or something, you want to tell everyone. This is the best commercial. It's called Mundpropaganda. They say Mundpropaganda, mouth propaganda. Just a mundane example, if you go see a movie. Devotees don't see movies. Movies are actually real bad. But just an example. Or let's say like this, an ice cream. Ice cream is very good. Devotee ice cream. Yeah? So you eat the ice cream. Now for devotees example, you eat the ice cream. No, I have to make it a little bit mundane because it doesn't work. Okay, so you buy an ice cream, it's a Karmi ice cream. Yeah? It's just an example, we don't do this. Yeah? And you eat it, it's so good. It's so wonderful. And you tell your friend, oh, about this ice cream, strawberry and whatever. Yeah?
Chocolate.
No chocolate. Okay, the example is anyway messed up. Strawberry chocolate. Yeah, we make it completely demonic now. It's a demonic example. So, and you eat this and oh, it's so good. And you tell your friend, oh, it was so good, it tastes so wonderful. He will buy it for sure. But if the person walks in the street and sees a big billboard, new chocolate, strawberry ice cream, you see, it's maybe more interesting, but maybe not. Isn't it? But if someone tells you, you immediately do. It's so strong. So, if we really become Krishna conscious, then how effective this is to tell someone else, even though he has no clue about Krishna. And this is why Prabhupada was so successful. He was preaching out of realization. He knew what he was speaking about. You are not the body. And people understood. It's very amazing. So that's our duty. That's why it's our duty to have very good sadhana, very good bhajan, because then we're inspired and we learn to like Krishna. As Prabhupada says, we fall in love with Krishna. And it's very easy to preach because you like to speak about Krishna, isn't it? And especially to tell these people who have no clue about Krishna. This is most funny. This is most funny. They have no clue of anything. They tell them about Krishna. So often I give him a book, a Bhagavatam, and I say, yeah, look, this is the material world, this is the spiritual world, this is Krishna, this is Radharani, this is Goloka Vrindavan, this is the Gopas, the Kalpas, because it's all there, right? And they have no clue. It doesn't matter. For me it's nice. I tell them about Krishna. Or this book, the Schönheit des Selbst. Yesterday I met a boy and he said, I met some of you guys some time ago and I'm not interested. I said, no, you are interested. How come you are interested? Because it's about you. This book is about you. And as I said, because the body is a machine. Video camera, loudspeaker, microphones, processor, no? CPU, mechanics, how is it? Yeah. So this is a machine, but who, in Deutsch I say, wer steuert die Maschine? Who controls the machine? And when you explain this like this, it's really a powerful example. And very often they tell me, they say, me? I say, very good. So you understand there's a difference between the machine and you. So who are you? I said, you know what is the machine. But who are you? And they look, true. And I tell them, this book is about you. What is the self? Die Schönheit des Selbst. And I say, this book is about understanding who are we. This is the question. Who am I? And he got it. He got the point. And he took a book. And he met someone before, but he was not taking. So we have to try again and again. And I found this example. I often do it. And it's for me also, because it's not just ABC. It's ABC, of course. I'm not the body. But how much have we understood it? And every day you can preach like this in a very powerful way. And I understand myself also. Oh, yeah, I'm not the body. Very often you take a book. And want to met yesterday because Cologne is full of people who are maybe not such philosophers or, more these kids maybe from a migrant background and many Turks, and sometimes they have their own way of behaving and speaking. You see, it's not so philosophical. They're more like, And one couple, and the guy was like big, some guy who you can think he beats up people or something, and the girl, his girlfriend or something. And I stopped him, was quite aggressive on him. Well, sometimes on Sankirtan you can do this, even though normally he would be angry or something, but somehow I was on him, And he looked at me, what is it? And I gave him a book, Nectar of Instructions or something, and I explained to him what it is, and he says, no, I don't read, and stuff. And then I said to the girlfriend, then you read to him. And I said, no, and then I somehow brought them there to give a donation. Because I told him, you are a nice guy, huh? You are a good guy. And he's actually not. And she also, no, he's actually not. I said, no, there's something good in you. And said, okay. So I'm good, I give you a donation. So I gave a little donation. But he said, I don't want a book. But she said, nein, ich will das Buch haben. Ich werde den lesen. This is how to speak. No, ich werde den lesen. In their whatever language, And she took it. Said, okay. So these people, no clue about anything. But take a book. And that's what I find so funny, when sometimes people have no clue about anything, they take a book. Or say Krishna, or this and that. So then preaching will be very nice, and our sadhana will be nice, and everything will be nice if we are inspired, if we are infected with Krishna. Prabhupada says Krishnaized, use this word Krishnaized. If we are actually starting to love Krishna, it's actually not such a big thing. We might think, oh, love of Krishna is for the pure devotee, isn't it? Yeah, the pure love of Krishna, of course, this will come. But before, it's not that I don't love Krishna and I love Krishna, it's a progression. And how does it start? It starts that there's some appreciation for Krishna. Person. No? And then we start to like Krishna. Who would say he likes Krishna here? Do you like Krishna? Yes. You like Krishna? You like Krishna? Do you like Krishna? Stefan likes Krishna. You like Krishna. And you like Krishna. Yes. So it's not that we would say, no, I purely love Krishna. No, we're not that. But we have appreciation. I like Krishna. Krishna is wonderful. He's cool, he's funny, he's sweet, he's loving, he's charming. These are first steps of love of Krishna. This is some love is there. Prabhupada said it. How can the devotees always chant Hare Krishna? They have love for Krishna. He said it like that. It's not like pure, the purest and with understanding my relationship and all that. But it's already some love. And this we should nourish. And it will grow more. This love will develop. This is what we are doing here. We develop this love. And this is how it goes. And hearing about Krishna, chanting his glories. Hearing as much as possible about Krishna. And preaching is so good because you hear about Krishna in a very intense way. Okay. So this is interesting point. Thank you very much. Any questions? Kalantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.